Let's get to the bottom of this. YouTube. What's going on? Why are they removing the dislikes? Is it to help support the smaller community members of their channels? No. It's most likely to help support big business so that we can't downvote when they bring out scummy business tactics and like promote their products that are obviously trash. This is such a bad change. I'm gonna like just come out straight away before I even watch the video how terrible this is and how morally apprehensible this is from YouTube. It is clear as daylight that they are actually real scumbags for doing this, but it is what it is. Of course they're going to do it because it makes money. It makes more money than the smaller content creators would make for them. Yes, it's got 12k likes and 79k dislikes. Like, of course. Of course. It's obvious this is such a terrible decision, but they're like, no, it's totally a good decision. It's for all the small guys. We really want to support you guys. And they're counting their money.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was
Hey, Matt.
experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video. Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers
Yes, it
if
does.
it's a good video or not.
That's true.
If it's a
Well, there you
helpful
go.
tutorial or not.
You've already
Or
answered
is
it.
what a creator
It does.
is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not. But unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have found there's this whole other use.
Already research teams at YouTube. How about the actual community that actually posts and, you know, what? Research teams. Basically what he means by research teams is he means the guys that speak to the corporate channels on YouTube. So, you know, you get all these big late night show and these bigger TV shows that are normally on TV are now on like YouTube and they get promoted all the time by YouTube. You'll notice that. You know, the James Corden show, all this kind of stuff, like all these clips and stuff like that. It's those that basically YouTube are getting money from, and they want to protect those type of people because they'll get the dislikes and they'll be like, well, how much money do we have to pay you, YouTube, to remove these dislikes? And they're like, oh, it's such a hassle removing all these dislikes. How about we just get rid of them entirely? Then we don't have to worry about it. Research
For disliking
teams.
a video that I had never
Jesus.
experienced as a creator, and you may not have either. Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard. And it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for. That's a big problem when half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice.
Right. Now, if this does happen to anyone, I feel sorry for you. If you don't even deserve this, like a lot of people might even genuinely deserve this, but if you don't deserve it, I feel sorry for you. But let's be honest, how many people is this genuinely affecting? So you're going to remove the dislike button, which affects everyone, all 100% user base that use YouTube, to protect 1% at best? I can't imagine there's even more than 1% of people that deliberately get targeted to do this.
So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction. So the update from YouTube is that the dislike button is staying, but the dislike counts will now be private.
Why? What's the point? We live in such a weird world these days. We really do, where everyone is just being protected beyond protected beyond protected. Just wrapping everyone up in bubble wrap. Like, they're not going to even know how to breathe soon without someone doing it for them. It's so bad. This is so dumb. So dumb, man.
You can still dislike videos, and that action will be used to tune your own recommendations, but you won't be able to see the dislike count.
Why?
Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want. Now, a few common questions we saw from the initial experiment.
If they want.
First, without a public dislike count, how can viewers tell if a video is worth watching? Again, I kind of had this question too, but it turns out that while Viewers might use the dislike count to give them a sense of a video's worth. When the teams looked at the data across millions of viewers and videos in the experiment, they didn't see a noticeable difference in viewership, regardless of whether they could see the dislike count or not. In other words, it didn't really matter if a video had a lot of dislikes or not, they still watched. Next.
What? It's just like, just think about, again, all of these videos where you would save yourself so much time. I've seen this before. Like, I have issues, technical issues sometimes, and I look up videos on how to fix it. Now, if I find a video that has 12 likes and 83 dislikes, it's probably not because there's a select group of people that absolutely hate that creator and are deliberately disliking it. It's probably because that creator is just going to mumble for the next 5 minutes during the video, not even actually answer the problem that he's put as the title in his video description, saying, this is how you solve this problem. He's not even probably going to give you the answer. That's probably why. So to save myself the 5 minutes or the 10 minutes or the 15 minutes of watching that video, I go, oh, okay. If he's got 12 likes and 83 dislikes, it's probably a good chance that he actually hasn't answered the problem. So then I'll look up another video on YouTube until I come across one that actually has something like 195 likes and 12 dislikes. Then I'm going to be like, that one actually probably does have the answer for what I'm searching for. That is so useful, and they're going to remove that. That usefulness is so dumb.
Next common question. If creators can still see the dislike count on the back end, how's that any different? They can see it if they look for it inside Studio Analytics under the Engagement tab. But overall, it's much less likely to cause stress and embarrassment if the count isn't visible to the public. And one more common...
You know what? Like, I honestly wonder if it's causing stress or embarrassment. Like, if you're a child, I can understand this. So if YouTube had a way where, like, kids... I don't know if you can create an account as a kid, because obviously I'm 37 years old, so I don't bloody know. But if you could, maybe if you're under a certain age and you've put in your details correctly when you create that account, you should potentially be protected up until the age of 16 or 18, whatever it is. And all of your videos, therefore, wouldn't have that dislike feature if you're a kid. Because I can understand a kid getting absolutely distressed about that because they don't have the intelligence or, the life experience to teach them that life hits you hard, even though they go through school and they get bullied most likely. That's part of what going through school is. It's good to have that. You may not think it at the time, but it actually helps you develop a lot as a person. So when you protect people too much, but I think from the internet online, people can be really vicious and vitriol for no real good reason. So I think for kids, you can protect them in that sense. But any adult channel, like mine, for example, should not have this as a feature. If you're a grown adult and you're getting stressed out or by dislikes and stuff like that, then you just need to grow a pair of balls, to be quite frank with you. Like, that might be a toxic white male approach of explaining the situation, but you just do. Like, there's a time where you've got to grow up and you've got to deal with life, because life is hard. Life is not going to bend over at your every wheel unless you're incredibly rich or incredibly famous. If you ain't one of those two things, then you're just going to have to basically learn to deal with life and crack on with it. That's always my approach. Crack on with it.
Question, is this because YouTube Rewind got lots of dislikes? No, although there are some teams internally who have learned the hard way what it feels like to get lots of dislikes. Now, this again is about protecting all creators and making sure they...
Why is the reason that they got all those dislikes? It's because the later YouTube rewinds were all about selling out to companies. K-pop and all this bullshit, right? So they're selling out. People didn't like the selling out. YouTube are removing dislikes so they can sell out to these companies more frequently without repercussions of the dislikes from the community. So when they're selling you these companies' products or, these big late night shows that shouldn't really be on YouTube, let's face it, they're not that funny. They're nowhere near as good as the actual natural content that's created by people themselves. They're the corporate, essentially, products that are pushed out by YouTube, promoted by YouTube, and then the community will basically fight back saying dislike to this, but YouTube are like, no, we still like to sell out, so this is another way to protect those people. So it's not even so much about the rewind. If they learn anything from the rewind, it's just they had to come up with another way to protect their selling out.
Have a chance to succeed and feel safe in doing so. All right, so that's the update. I hope it doesn't cause too much frustration. Honestly, I think you're going to get used to it pretty quickly, and keep in mind other platforms
We won't have a
don't even have a
choice.
dislike button. So consider that. Thank you.
Consider putting that as an option then, eh? If this is such a hot, contentious situation, why not just make it an option? If the viewer wants to only see dislikes or not see dislikes at all, consider that. But because it's forced, of course we're going to get used to it because you literally don't have a choice. You just either don't use YouTube. Basically, that's the only choice you have.
And I hope you're well.
Jesus Christ. That's so bad. When YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice, so to combat this, we're literally going to remove half of everyone's voice by hiding the dislike count. No need to thank us. This is genuinely the most simple-minded and grossly misguided update I've ever seen in anything ever. I've never experienced a dislike attack in my career on YouTube before. You will now experience one. People are just going to type dislike. Half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice, unless we don't like that voice. Yeah. And with this, the golden era of scams, fake tutorials, and low-quality content begins. Yeah, there's just no real benefits to this whatsoever. That is the big issue. It only benefits the people that are already like screwing you over. So it only benefits the big businesses, the corporates. So fantastic. As if they needed anything else. Do you know? They've already got it pretty good. They don't need it even better. Do you remember when YouTube actually used to be for like the actual content creators, which they claim to be? Yeah, that ain't it. That is not it at all. No, you aren't allowed to dislike our corporate backers. Yeah, this is like hands down basically what it is. Look at that. Oh, quick, we've got to sway the balance back. So 567k to 566k. So we gotta bring it back. Neutral response.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.